What's going on, Raider Nation? It's your boy, Mikey Raider. First off, hit that like, that subscribe button. Consider becoming a member of this channel for a few bucks to support your boy for exclusive content, members-only live streams, and a little bit more fun in the coming days. I just wanted to give my review of round 2 and 3 of the Raiders draft picks, my instant reaction, even though I had a live stream for about 5 hours where you got it all there. But this is the quick lowdown version of it, and we'll get into those reactions or grades in a minute. I just want to address the video I made yesterday that a lot of people did not like or don't agree with, which is fine. I just want to reiterate that I'm a salty Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler fan, and I don't like anything they're doing, so I go into every pick with a little bit of salt at the organization as a whole as of late. So that makes me biased or whatever, or not a good judge of a football player or whatever. I've just seen everything that's happened to the Raiders, and I predict a lot of these picks that are bad or they're not going to do good, and I'm right 70% of the time. So I've had a good track record. But that being said, after rethinking and watching videos and highlights and getting more information about the round 1 pick of Tyree Wilson, I gave him an initial grade of a C+. But after learning that he's not really replacing Chandler Jones, and he's not really a wasted pick, because he is going to go and he can play multiple positions on the defensive line, we might, at least for 1 year with Chandler Jones, have a 3-headed monster, and he can play in the Aaron Donald type position and all over the field, where they can move Max Crosby, Chandler, maybe to linebacker, and this and that, and he has versatility. So that makes me grade him a little bit better. So I brought him down to a B-. A lot of people had him high on their boards, and according to you, a lot of experts had him as a top 10 player, but on ESPN, he was ranked 16th. On NFL Network, he was ranked, I think, like 14th in total of all the players. But that's definitely a top 3 at the defensive edge rusher position. Many Raider fans think they got the best edge rusher in the draft, and I appreciate the positivity, but forgive me for being afraid of everything. Okay? I'm a salty Raider fan. A seasoned Raider fan, if you will. So I moved the pick up from a C+ to a B-, maybe even a B. And I like it. I can see the pick. I'm not going to hate on McDaniels right now. Maybe a couple of days I'll be happy about it and we can move on. But I didn't know he had an injury. He had a foot injury, and the reports came out that he was all cleared for training. And there's also rumors that he was hobbling on the stage, and he was hobbling to the press conference, and he couldn't stand on his feet, so he had to move a lot. That could be nervous energy. But the rumors that he was hobbling on stage and everything also point out the fact that he picked up the commissioner. Maybe that was to show all the other teams that he can pick up a lot of weight and put a lot of weight on his possibly injured foot, and that he's good to go. So that's the case. They're saying he's good to go for training camp, this and that. So we'll leave it at that. But those are some of the rumors and the situations that were happening, to bring down his grade or his value or whatever. But that being said, I'm excited for the guy. I don't understand that pick there. I thought we had Chandler Jones. I wanted the bigger names. But let's be honest, I would have been mad even if they picked Jalen Carter. I would have talked about all the controversy, living in Las Vegas. I would have went negative, of course. So we'll leave it at that. So that being said, with today's picks, I'm in a more positive mood thanks to donations support from a lot of you guys going live, talking to some great people in our members only live stream and stuff like that. And I was excited for today. So I had a better draft day. And then when the Raiders at pick in the second round, when they traded up 3 picks, I immediately thought the Raiders were going to pick a quarterback. Why? Because there was rumors and rumblings that in the late first round yesterday that the Raiders were trying to trade up into the late first round to pick up a player, with Atlanta and Titans trying to do the same thing. The Titans and Atlanta and the Raiders were trying to move back into the first round to pick up a player, and Will Levis was available. So many people thought that maybe the Raiders might have been trying to trade up into the first round to pick up a quarterback in Will Levis. Maybe Atlanta was doing that, whatever. But it didn't happen. And Will Levis was still available. But he went a couple of picks before the Raiders picked. Then right after Will Levis was not available in the second round, if the Raiders wanted him, again, who knows, the Raiders moved up, I believe, with the Cardinals, or they traded up 3 spots. And I immediately said, quarterbacks are going off the board. Hendon Hooker is available. The Raiders had meetings with him. They're going to go quarterback. In my live stream, I was like, why would they move up 3 spots? They gave up a 5th rounder to move up 3 spots. I was like, they're getting a quarterback. But in my live stream as well, I said, they also need a tight end. And the tight end, Michael Mayer, was on the board. But I was excited about Hendon Hooker. Again, flashy name, excitement, replacement of Derek Carr, blah, blah, blah. It didn't happen. The Raiders selected at, I forget the pick number, 38. No, they went 38 to 35. At pick number 35, the Raiders selected tight end out of Notre Dame, Michael Mayers. Some people are calling him Michael Myers. They're saying it's a scary draft pick. You get it? It's a killer draft pick. Michael Mayer. But many people had him as the top tight end on the board. Him alongside Kincaid and the other guy, Sal Palumbo. But Sal Palumbo was taken as well before that. So the Raiders got themselves a tight end. And how do I feel about this pick? Well, again, I was expecting a quarterback for some reason, but I was wrong, which is fine. But I also expected a tight end. And I understand the pickup because we need a young tight end. But then I got reminded that we have Austin Hooper and O.J. Howard and Jesper Horsted. And they're our tight end room. We got veterans, and we drafted a tight end instead of a cornerback or a quarterback or whoever else was available. So that could make me hate the pick. But the more I think about it, we got veteran tight ends, probably on a 1-year deal. Now we got possibly the best tight end in the league to replace Waller. And all 3 of these players, O.J. Howard, Jesper Horsted, O.J. Howard, Jesper Horsted, what's the guy's name? I just said it again. I can't even think. Austin Hooper, and now Michael Mayer. We've got them probably all under contract for cheaper than the Darren Waller contract. I'm not saying they'll all play as good, but we probably got all 4 of the players for the same price that Darren Waller was going to get paid for, or even less. And I know we downgraded a little, but we got players like O.J. Howard and Hooper that were drafted pretty high and still got a lot of potential and have played good with the likes of Tom Brady, the Patriots, the Buccaneers, and whoever else, Brian Hoyer, etc. And they're good blockers and they're veterans. They can teach the young Michael Mayer. So long story short, I like the pick. I understand it. In my honest opinion, we got the best tight end room in the league. I know we lost Foster Moreau and Waller. They were a great tight end room with Jesper Horsted and Bowers. But we got the best tight end room in the league. That being said, I grade that pick a B+. I grade that pick a B plus. It could be an A minus. So there it is. That's how I feel about the tight end we drafted. Let me know what you guys feel about it. Then, many people wanted us to trade back up in the draft, pick up Hendon Hooker. He ended up going to, I believe it was Tennessee. But long story short, a lot of us are like, man, we need a cornerback. We need a cornerback. Or this and that. But this is a big cornerback draft. So the Raiders' next pick, I believe, came at 77, maybe 78. So the Raiders' pick came up. And I didn't know where they're going to go. But I understood the picks. Then the Raiders went and drafted a defensive tackle named Byron Young. Or Byron Young. Out of Alabama. Then I started thinking about it. All right, we got a defensive tackle. I thought Jalen Carter played at Alabama, but I realized it was Georgia. I thought they played together. That was just my bad. But we got Byron Young. They showed the highlights. He looked a little slow, but he looked like a run stopper. So that excited to me. And with the edge rushers and maybe Chandler Jones, Max Crosby, and then now this new Byron Young, formidable line. Formidable line. I understand it. I see it. I like it. But then the announcer on ESPN, I forget his name, bald head guy, he hosted Monday Night Football as well. And he started saying they got the wrong Byron Young. He goes, they got the worst player out of Alabama than the other Byron Young. And then he started, not talking crap, but giving his critique about that Byron Young out of Alabama, saying he's a prospect and the Raiders got the wrong Byron Young. I didn't know what he was talking about. I was like, huh? Because I don't know all the players. Then a couple draft picks later, 2 draft picks later, Byron Young from Tennessee at defensive edge rusher goes to wherever he went to. The Rams, the LA Rams. Like with the quickness, maybe the next pick or 2 picks later. Then that same reporter on ESPN with the bald head, I forget his name, forgive me. He started saying, the Rams got who the Raiders wanted. Did the Raiders and Josh McDaniels make a mistake putting in the card? Did they get the Byron Youngs confused? Did they get them confused? Because they got the worst player. The Rams got the better player. So then my brain went wild. I started thinking conspiracy theories, this and that. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Did they really make a mistake? That's going to be in all the press coverages. And now we're going to compare the careers of both, or Byron Young versus Byron Young. I know they're both at different positions, defensive edge and defensive tackle. But now forever, because what that guy from ESPN put out, I don't know if they did it on other NFL networks, but because he put out that theory, Raider Nation, we're all truthers, conspiracy theorists, and anger-filled, and whatever we are, we are. But since he put that out there, it's been in my head. Now we're going to compare the career of both Byron Youngs versus each other. So imagine if the LA Rams, Byron Young, gets a ton of sacks because he's an edge rusher, has a better career or first year or better career in total than the other Byron Young that the Vegas Raiders picked up. That's a headache. That's a headache that could have been avoided. So did the Raiders really get their guy? Did they really make a mistake? I'll be honest with you guys. I could see them making a mistake. Because again, I'm salty at McDaniels and Dave Ziegler. They've never done drafts before. Maybe they wrote down the wrong Byron Young. I'm hoping it's just a theory. I'm hoping it's a ridiculous rumor. But still, because that is out there in the world, because there are 2 Byron Youngs on the defensive line, the comparisons will happen for both of their careers from us Raider fans and from the media and everybody else, because that was put out into the world. Right, now let me grade the pick of Byron Young. From everything I've seen so far, from other Raider fans as well, he was the worst player. But he's at a better positional value since we already got a ton of defensive edge rushers now. And Chandler Jones, Tyree Wilson, Max Crosby. So why would we get another defensive edge rusher in the other Byron Young? So, I don't know. But I'm going to grade that pick a C. Too much to be determined? I don't know. But long story short, I understand the pick, if it is correct. And I like our defensive line with Jerry Tillery, Byron Young, Chandler Jones, Tyler Wilson, and Max Crosby heading the ship. If they can all do it. I like it. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. All right. That's my opinion of that pick. And now, the Raiders picked again at 100. There's rumors that the Raiders still need a quarterback, a cornerback, and the Raiders need multiple positions. And I didn't believe wide receiver was one of them. Okay? But the Raiders pick at 100, the compensation, or how do you say it, compensatory pick for the Giants, for losing Waller. At pick 100, I thought the Raiders would go Ringo, cornerback, maybe a linebacker, maybe an offensive player, or a tackle or a lineman. And real quickly, just to go back to the defensive line now, Max Crosby doesn't have to do all the work now. Because they replaced possibly Chandler Jones, and they got two players that are young, energetic, and athletic, and they can do something good. So, that'll hopefully help out Max Crosby because he's been doing all the work. Now, I thought they were going to draft an offensive tackle or a guard or whatever, those type of players, or a cornerback or a quarterback, maybe with Jake Hayner out of Fresno State, Aiden O'Connell. Maybe they'll get them in the later rounds. But the Raiders win wide receiver at pick 100, Trey Tucker. All right? I was confused for a second. I was like, don't we got a ton of wide receivers? Then the announcers started speaking on him. We started learning the facts that he's a short wide receiver. He's a speedy wide receiver. He's like a little rat. He's like one of those rat players. You know, they run around the field, they get open, they come into the field, and he plays a lot out of the backfield from the highlights that I saw. He plays in the backfield and good on special teams. So he's like a special teamer, and he can come in for those trick plays like being a rat. Get in there like a Tyreek Hill-esque. Again, he reminded me of Tyreek Hill. If he could even be 50% of Tyreek Hill, we got ourselves a quality player in Trey Tucker, I believe, out of Cincinnati. But I still was a little perturbed about the pick because let's go over our wide receiver room real quick, okay? He's not going to be a starter. They're claiming he's a special teamer and a gadget player, which is fine. But we got a ton of people saying Hunter Renfro's gone, he's going to be traded. Is that the case? We got Devontae Adams. We got Jacoby Myers in the slot. We got Hunter in the slot. We got Philip Dochette in the slot. We got Keelan Cole in the slot. No, he's kind of more like a long-range wide receiver. Then we got DeAndre Carter. And I might be missing somebody else, so forgive me. But we got DeAndre Carter to do special teams. So if we got Tucker to do special teams, I guess we're doubling up. And he might be the 5th best roster on the team. So somebody, whether it be Philip Dorsett or Keelan Cole, or I don't think DeAndre Carter will be gone unless Trey Tucker beats him out. But one of those are gone. So that's our wide receiver room. I do not think they're going to trade Hunter Renfrow. I think he's too valuable to not keep on the roster this year. So that's my thought on that. So the pick kind of freaked me out a little bit, and I didn't understand it. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, if you believe he's Tyreek Hill-esque, it's okay to draft him that high. So I grade that pick a C+. I liked what I saw from him. He has potential. He'll probably make the roster, maybe the 6th wide receiver. If at worst he's on with special teams, or he's the practice squad, and then he can be claimed up due to injuries or anything else. I like it. Maybe they reached. Maybe people had him on the board later. I do not know. I'm not an expert. Would he have been there at 109 if the Raiders went with another player? We don't have the 144 pick anymore because we traded that to move up 3 spots. So the Raiders got their guy, and they want a player like Tyreek Hill or with that athletic ability. And I can't blame them for going after their guy. Same thing they did in round 1. So this draft has been shaping itself out, and I grade that pick a C+. It's interesting. It's a flashy pick, at least in my eyes with the highlights. I don't know how you fall on it, but I'm enjoying the draft so far. We still got a lot of positional needs. We need to pick up some cornerbacks. We need to pick up an offensive tackle because Colton Miller is probably on his last year, and Jermaine Illuminor is getting better. But we got some needs. And we need to fill them with some good talent. We got 8 picks left in the draft, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. So that being said, if I have to grade the draft right now, after looking at it just from a stupid grade without giving it 3 years, I'm going to grade the draft a B. I'm going to grade it a B. It's making sense to me now that I'm getting more information, and I'm cool with it. I do think they need to get a quarterback, but there might be a possibility that they don't draft a quarterback until day 3. Tomorrow, well, that's going to happen. Or they might not even draft a quarterback, but of course they will. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm predicting for the future. But again, I want to see a cornerback drafted tomorrow. I want to see a quarterback drafted tomorrow. And I want to see an offensive lineman drafted tomorrow. And hopefully a big name that we expected. And man, could you imagine if it's Jake Hayner out of Fresno State, the comparisons between him and Carr? It's going to be a funny season. Raider Nation, I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in, chiming in, supporting these videos. Please let me know your thoughts on today's draft, on each individual player. Grade them in the comments below. I do read them. Unfortunately, I do. I love you guys. Stay happy, healthy. Keep grinding. I love you guys. Remember, Raider Nation for life. Hate can't hurt happy. And what a blessed day of life we all had. I'll see y'all soon.